What's going on, everyone? So, the Los Angeles Lakers we're inching closer and closer to training camp, and I'll do all the player breakdown stuff like that as we get, kind of the week or two in. But I'm really excited to see as we kind of progress there, and once we actually get there, how the players shape up. From obviously all the guys that are on the roster, and kind of hear all the news and stuff coming out of training camp, to the guys on the two-way contracts, to even guys trying to make the roster. One guy in particular that I'm really excited for, and I kind of want to talk about and dive into, because I think he, again, is another guy that is exactly what this team needs, not only for right now, but for the future, is Arthur Kaluma. He is somebody that I'm very high on, another big, physical, versatile, defensive, athletic kind of two-way, or has the potential to be a two-way guy, right? It's why an Adu Thero is such an exciting prospect for the Lakers. Now, Arthur Kaluma, he's not as, of a freak athlete as Adu Thero is, but Arthur Kaluma is bigger. I mean, just watch him in summer. He was massive, right? Like he just looked bigger than his 6'7", 225, 230, at least in my opinion. I mean, and you saw him, we didn't get a ton of him, which I think is interesting. Right? They didn't really play him as much as I thought they would have, but when he was playing, you saw his ability to be that versatile defender. I mean, he genuinely was defending point guards to centers. There was several instances where he was staying in front of point guards, getting stops on the defensive side of things, defending guards, while also baiting with the big boys down low and getting stops and generating stops on the interior. Also a guy that was able to and show the ability to knock down the three ball. He's the kind of guy that the Lakers need alongside Luka long term. Big, physical, strong, versatile, kind of two-way capability. Now, will he actually evolve and emerge into that? I don't know, right? Same thing with an Adu Thero. You don't know, right? But both guys are incredibly young. Adu Thero is 2 years younger. Arthur Kaluma, it's one of the reasons why he went undrafted, is because his age, 23 years old. You see guys that, Dalton Connect was projected to go as high as a top 5 pick in many big boards and ended up falling all the way to 17th, not because of injury, anything other than just his age, right? Teams, they want the young guy. There were guys that were, 18, 19 that had similar comps to him, right? Why would I go take 23-year-old when I can go get the 19-year-old type thing? So I think if you're the Lakers, you really benefit and you really kind of luck out by landing a guy in Arthur Kaluma who really showed some promise in college that hopefully can translate to the NBA level, right? Rob Pelinka recently spoke about Adu Thero and talked about kind of that OG on a newbie archetype, right? That he really could see him kind of evolving and emerging into that. Arthur Kaluma is that exact type of player too. And he's even coming into the NBA because the vertical jump, right? The thing about Adu Thero is he's genuinely a freak athlete. He had a 41, 42 inch vertical, right? He's a guy that could jump out the gym, hyper athletic speed, everything, right? He's a guy that can, beat guys off the dribble, get to the basket, stuff like that. Arthur Kaluma, I look at more of the traditional 3 and D. Adu Thero is a guy that I think has the potential to kind of be even a self-creator, and you could give the ball to him and he could just kind of go to work and go get you buckets because he's more athletic than an OG on a newbie, right? I could see maybe kind of that Mikal Bridges OG hybrid, right? Where Mikal Bridges has kind of that athleticism, that ability to self-create and create a little bit for others. Where OG, he can go get 20, he can go get his shots, but he's kind of more kind of brute rather than Mikal's kind of more crafty. Right? Adu Thero, I think, can be a little more crafty than an OG can, where Arthur Kaluma, I actually think, is a better kind of OG comparison. Big, physical, strong guy that can, knock down shots, defend multiple positions, got the size and the strength to do so, right? Arthur Kaluma, and again, it's the more archetype. I'm not saying he's going to be as good as an OG is, but even if he's a Herb Jones level, right? That would be fantastic. A guy that could come in, which Herb Jones came in the league, if I'm not mistaken. He was 23, something like that. Arthur Kaluma, he measured a 34.5 inch vertical, right? So he's got some. He's not like the hyper athlete, but he's more athletic. OG was, I think he was like 28, 29 coming in. Obviously that's a proof. You see a lot of guys like their vertical actually get better once they get in the NBA because they're working out, they're conditioning, they're working on their calves and stuff like that to help with the jumping and whatnot. But point is, Arthur Kaluma gives you the versatility on the defensive side, which is what the Lakers really need. Gives you that size to match up and play either wing position. And I even talked about earlier in the summer this kind of vision that I have at some point where it's like, okay, you got Luka Doncic, say DeAndre Ayton works out. Say he's actually the answer at the center position, right? So it's like, perfect. You got your point guard, you got your center. Well, what do you want alongside those guys? You want big, physical, versatile, defensive 3-and-D players to mask the lack of defense that Luka provides, right? So having guys like a Dude Theroux that could slot in, 2 through 4 for you. Having a guy in an Arthur Kaluma who could slot in, potentially 2 through 4 for you, depending on how well he could shoot. He's probably more 3-4, but get the point. Same thing with the Dude there. Potentially more 3-4, but you start putting around Luka and DeAndre Ayton those defensive two-way pieces. Or even if you do go with an Austin Reeves, like let's say Austin Reeves is that guy for you long-term, right? And you got Luka, Austin Reeves. You're definitely going to need big, physical, versatile, switchable defensive pieces that can hopefully also knock down the three ball, right? And then Jared Vanderbilt, we'll see if he can kind of improve and knock down he could be another kind of long-term piece. I mean, imagine if in a perfect world, right? Walk with me for a moment here. Jared Vanderbilt becomes a 36% three-point shooter. Nothing crazy. A Dude Theroux becomes like a 37.5% guy. And then Arthur Kaluma, another 37.5% guy. Nothing crazy, right? Round league average, little, maybe less than league average from three-point range. Could you imagine those three guys slotted alongside, Luka and DeAndre Ayton, right? The defensive versatility, the size, the athleticism, the rebounding, the switchability, all of those things. One of the big things about Dude Theroux was he's a really good rebounder, good nose, good feel for the basketball. Arthur Kaluma is as well. I mean, Arthur Kaluma averaged last season 7.5, almost 8 rebounds a game in college. Right, so a guy that's just, again, big, physical, sturdy, strong, can put his head down, get to the basket, shoot the three ball, do multiple things out there on the basketball court. Right? He's the the exact type of prototype, and it's why I've talked about him and sprinkled him in various videos and stuff like that. Since the draft, because he is a guy that I really do think is I mean, I wouldn't. If you signed him to the roster this season, I would be stoked about it. Because the Lakers really need guys like that. Even if he's just an assignment guy, even if he's just playing, 8 minutes a night, and it's like, hey, you see that guy? I need you to just be a menace defensively. Do the dirty work. Make the hustle plays. Right? You know what this Lakers team could really use? 2 more Jared Vanderbilts. Right? Give me that in a Dude Theroux and an Arthur Kaluma slotted in. Right? I mean, that would solve so many of the Lakers' problems, just to have that athleticism, the size, the speed, the versatility, the rebounding. I mean, we see how good Jared Vanderbilt is at rebounding the basketball and making the hustle plays, doing the dirty work, right? You bring in and you add in a Dude Theroux that can do a lot of the same things, right? And then also give me an Arthur Kaluma who could potentially do a lot of the same things. Now you having those 3 guys out there, just menacing opposing teams, and just especially under JJ Redick and the type of defense he likes to run, where you kind of just switch everything. Having 3 guys that would have the size, the length, and the physicality to be able to fight through those screens, fight through those contests. Arthur Kaluma's another guy that has that 7'1" wingspan, so he's got the size and that length and that versatility to go and challenge centers even. It's the kind of things that you want if you're the Lakers, right? That size, that's the thing about a Dude Theroux. He's got the athleticism, he's got the wingspan, he's got the size, he's got the strength. Right? He is the exact prototype that this Lakers team needs. Right? You look at an Arthur Kaluma, it's the same thing, right? He's not as athletic and hyper athletic as a Dude Theroux is, but he's still very much an athlete, very athletic, can move his feet well, defend multiple positions, rebound the basketball, right? Got the size, the length, the physicality, the defense. Another guy that is looked at as somebody that is more, more closer to NBA level defensive ready, which is just so happens to be exactly what this Lakers team needs. Guys that can defend and defend at a high level, night in and night out. We have more than enough offense. I talked about I wouldn't mind getting kind of a bucket getter or self-creator off the bench, but it's not something that is dire. Lakers, like they do need a guy like an Arthur Kaluma. But looking at his stats last year, again, obviously these are his college stats because we don't have because he hasn't played in the NBA yet. But he's played for a couple teams, 2 years at Creighton, Kansas State, and then last year in Texas. So he's actually played at some good defensive organizations that are known and hang their hat on the defensive side of things. So that's something else as well. But 33 games played, 32 games started, 29.3 minutes per game, 9.2 field goal attempts per game, shot 46.2% from the floor, 3-point range on 2.8 attempts, shot 36% on 2.8 attempts. The previous year on 4.5 attempts, so almost double the amount of attempts, he shot 34.5% from 3-point range, which again isn't like, oh, he was 45% from 3, but he, to show that like, hey, he could knock down the 3 ball in college, right? That is a good sign to potentially be able to translate to the NBA level. So the fact that he has been able to knock down the 3 ball with some consistency, even if he's 36% from 3-point range in the league, right? That's not like ideal. Obviously, you want guys to be as good as possible, but to have that, and then on top of that, he's able to defend 1 through 5 for you. That's where the value really reigns. That's where he's the guy that could do wonders for this team. But 2-point range, 6.5 attempts, just under 51% from 2-point range. EFG of 51.6%. Free throw shooting, 78.4% on 3.5 attempts. 7.5 rebounds, including 1.6 offensive rebounds. 2 assists, a steal, a block, and 12.3 points per game. So a guy, again, play both sides of the basketball, score the basketball, defend at a high level. I'm really excited for Arthur Kaluma. Definitely we'll talk about him again once we get into training camp. Hopefully we hear some good things coming out of training camp about him, but I'm really excited. He's one of the guys that I'm really high on as a potential for this roster and this team, just again for his defensive versatility. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. As always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.